This week on the Ants Nest, JackJumpers go back-to-back, David Johnson goes beast mode, and Cairns Taipans go missing. This is the Ants Nest. March on, Jackies.
These JackJumpers, they just never say die.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ants Nest. We are a by fans, for fans podcast where we talk nothing but the Tasmania JackJumpers. And gee, I've been looking forward to this because we're actually coming off a few wins. As you can tell, Birdo still not back from Sydney. And we are recording this in the middle of a thunderstorm. So if you hear any claps or bangs in the background, it's not an earthquake, but it is a balmy Perth day with lightning coming out of the sky. And on the other end of the globe, waiting for the snow to fall down, we have our co-host today, Mr. Jez Darke. Welcome, mate. How you going?
I'm going well. I'm enjoying our weather here by the sounds of things compared to your 40 degrees and thunderstorms. This nice chilly 5 degrees I'm working with here in Stockholm is lovely at the moment.
That's crazy, man. We've got a Perth local and a Stockholm local talking Tasmanian basketball in weather that Tasmania has never seen either of. So,
mate, the Jackies are taking over the world. It's that simple.
100%.
Tasmania is the new king of the world, mate.
And king of the NBL at the moment. We've won 2 in a row. Let's get straight into it, I reckon. We're
kings of the BBL too, though. If we're gonna be just, the women just won. Hobart have the BBL. The BBL's about to start, so I don't know. Have to drop that. The best cricket state in Australia at the moment. Awesome.
There are people back home in Tassie who are starting to say that Tasmania, with the success we've had in recent times, could very well become the sporting capital of Australia with Jackie's Championship and a BBL Championship, a WBBL Championship.
Soon an AFL Championship. There's nothing else to do in Tasmania except play sport. So it's a pretty good environment for excellence, I think.
100%, mate. 100%. Okay, mate. If it's all right with you, let's roll straight into the game against Cairns up the Convention Centre, 81-68. A Jackies win. How good. Our player of the match, Josh Bannan, had a monster game from sort of halfway through the second quarter onwards, putting up 20 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists. This guy's good for a double-double a game. I think there's not a team in the competition that wouldn't have Josh Bannan in their starting lineup at the moment. How did you see his game?
Yeah, he was the difference. Like, we were struggling. The game was in the balance, game wasn't in the balance. We started poorly, and it just felt like, okay, we're shooting poorly. Something needs to happen. Something needs to change. And it was Bannan that did it. He just come in. He played physical and just stopped worrying about shooting. He drove to the net, really good, powerful movements in the paint. And it was exactly what we needed. We just needed to sink some buckets, get some guaranteed buckets. And the best way to do that is put the ball straight in the net. Pretty simple, right? Like, instead of trying to shoot and missing shots, he just went physical, drove to the ring and changed the game. And then also made some good stops as well. And Magnay sort of also lifted defensively off Bannan's power game, you could basically say. So, yeah, definitely the game changer in that one, and everybody just sort of fed off what he was doing. You see there, stuff like that where just making his presence felt in the key. And look, beautiful assists, also extremely important. A part of his game that maybe doesn't get mentioned as much because it's all about the rebounds and the points, but like small, smooth assists like that, there's not a more complete player for the Jackies at the moment than Bannan.
Absolutely. He's just brought something that we've been crying out for years, and that's someone who can put it in the hoop and score easy points. It's always been a slog and a struggle for the JackJumpers.
I think
we
that
couldn't
too.
hit-
Like that's a good point you make with easy points, because he also had he took 10 free throws. So he was getting fouled down there as well, and shooting at 80%, dropped 8 from 10 from the free throw line. We had 19 free throws for the whole game. So he had over 50% of those. So it's that type of physical play. You obviously, other teams have to stop that, and then they start fouling, and then you get players in foul trouble, and all of that just compounds to winning a game and being powerful in that fourth quarter. And that's exactly what we did on the back of Bannan.
So good, and I'll echo what you said about missing shots. We couldn't hit a three to, so we went 7 and 27 from the three line, just a smidge over 25%. And for the first two quarters, the rebounds, which we'll talk about a little bit later, were down. We weren't backing up and catching the rebounds as they come off the glass. And I think Bannan worked it out pretty quick, and he just went bang. What an addition. It was a really, really physical game. We'll do a bit of analysis of the game now. And I remember watching the halftime interview. I forget who they were interviewing, but the Cairns player said how physical a game it was, and that's probably the one thing that stood out about this game. It was ugly, it was scrappy, it was unconvincing. We had terrible shooting. How good was it to see Jackie's basketball back?
Yeah, what being physical or shooting terribly? Like, I don't know. It's been a bit of both, but yeah, like, it was good to see that we won this physical contest, I think, for me, because it feels like when we were in that slump, these were the types of contests that we were losing, because we weren't winning that physical battle. And we've got guys, like, maybe we don't have the biggest guys in the world, but we still have, Magnay, who I think for me, like we'll dive into a little bit later as well, he's stepped up a lot and stepped up in this game as well physically. And I think with Bannan being this sort of flexible power forward, this new form of power forward that can sort of shoot and play defense, get rebounds, Magnay struggled at the start of the year to find sort of where he fits. And now it's this physicality and he's got to be that dominant guy for us defensively and get on the rebounds. And I think that changed this game as well. And that was good to see that we were losing a physical battle, and then all of a sudden we started to play the right way. Roth broke it down and said, this is what we need to do. We started to win the rebound battle and eventually won that game.
I think with Bannan scoring his 20 points a game, basically averaging a double-double on the rebounds, it's taken so much pressure off Mags to be that attacking presence, and he can now do what he does best, which is, bully opposition tools and punt the ball into the fifth row with his massive blocks. So we love to see it. We suspected early in the season that the Bannan Magnay Twin Towers experiment might be a good one, and they're certainly proving that. The stats that matter, that what I took out of this game, we kept Cairns to 68 points, which is just awesome. That is Jackie's basketball. And when history shows, when we keep teams under 90 points, generally we win. 51 rebounds. This is the second game in a row we've had more than 50 rebounds, which is a massive number for rebounds. And you mentioned it before, Bannan had 10 free throws. We scored 16 from 19 free throws. You've just got to hit them when you get them, right? That's an open look at the rim, and we nailed it. It was so good.
Yeah, the free throws are important. You can see a lot of the tight games. Like they can be winning. You can win and lose a game easy, especially in the NBL. With like this game wasn't close, but a lot of the games have been extremely tight, especially coming into sort of the final 5 minutes of a game. And it can be the free throws that make the difference in the end. But like I think you're spot on with the rebounds. Like that was a big point for me looking at this game, because we actually had like 20 more rebounds than what they had. And we also had, I'm just trying to find exactly the number here, but I believe it was like 21 of those 50 rebounds were offensive rebounds. So we were shooting poorly. We shot worse than Cairns percentage-wise in this game. So it's important then that we're getting these rebounds and these offensive rebounds, because if you're getting these second chance points, they also make a big difference, especially when you're shooting like shit. So I think it was, a really, really good performance. Bannan had 13 rebounds. Magnay had 13 rebounds. Like that's what we need to do, especially if we're off target, making sure that percentage of rebounds is going quite high on the offensive side of things.
What do you think is the fix for that? Do we focus on Jackie's basketball and just having a high amount of shots, knowing that the more you shoot, the more technically will go in? Or is there something that we're doing that's causing us just to be that inch or two off getting it in?
Yeah, like I don't know. I felt when we were in that bad stretch of like that 6-game losing streak, we were slowing down the pace. We were the slowest team in the NBL. And we were taking, I think, either the least or the second least amount of shots of any team. And then we also weren't hitting the target. So it's a really, really bad combination. But it is the way that Scott Roth likes to play. When we won the championship, we were playing at a slow pace, but we were getting our sort of shooting percentage much higher in those games with like Milton and Crawford when they were hot, we were unbeatable, because we were slowing it down and making sure that we were getting in the right areas and creating the time that we need to have a higher shooting percentage. So I think once we sort of work this offense out now, and it feels like we're starting to get that way, where we're getting Bryce Hamilton free, where Bannan's getting better looks, Magnay's getting better looks down low. I think that's the game that we then need to play. We don't need to necessarily take a whole heap of shots, but we need to make sure that we're getting the right looks before we're taking those shots. And now with the right players, now that we're finding these much better combinations. I think I wrote to you when we're watching the Cairns game, it was like Tiger Campbell was charging in too much and sort of just throwing up these like lollipop shots that weren't going in. And like, that's what we want to try and avoid. We want to make sure that we're getting guys open and getting the right look, and not forcing the ball in and forcing the drive in and not creating the space first.
I tell you who was getting some high quality shots. We're going to move on to our fan favorite now. And for about a 2.5-3 minute purple patch, David Johnson showed us what he was made of. You'll see in the highlights here, he had 2 points up until 3/4 time, and even till three minutes in the fourth quarter, he was still on 2 points. And then
you see that jump that you just did from his highlights from the first one. It was like 13 points, and now we're at 69 points. It's like, where did he go for that period?
One highlight for the rest of the game until 3 minutes 40 left on the clock in the fourth. And he basically scored 11 points in 2 minutes and just took the game completely away from the Cairns Taipans and just showed us a little bit what we've been waiting for with his injury. I know I was talking last week to Fred, who joined me on the show, and he said that calf injuries in particular are a real niggly one to get over, especially in basketball, because it just completely inhibits your ability to jump straight up in the air and put it in the hoop. How have you seen DJ's return, and what are you looking forward to for the rest of the season with DJ?
Yeah, well, I just think he was a big puzzle piece of what what we were planning this year. I think we picked up 2 extremely good imports, and having him go down that early in the season, and like you said, with an injury, calf injury, you see in the NBA now with how many like Achilles that are snapping, and the workload is a lot more, and the repetitiveness is a lot more. So you need to take care of it. But I think now we're starting to just see where he fits. And I think looking at those highlights even now was the way that people were able to sort of get him open and the plays that they're setting up. Like there was some really nice assists from others, from Bannan, from Bryce Hamilton. And I think that's important because now we're starting to be able to see, okay, if we get DJ open, and he's like shooting well that day, like it's basketball, everybody has their day or their moments, their quarters. When he's hot, we can get the ball to him, and he's a safe bet. And we can now start using guys like Bannan and Bryce Hamilton to create those assists, because now we're starting becoming a harder monster to stop offensively because we do have more weapons. I think through that sort of period when Johnson was out, it was all about Bryce Hamilton, and that was it. And then obviously the power game from Bannan. But now we've got these 2 guys that can score from the outside. They can drive in. They can pull up, run off the pick and roll. Like I think it's really, really positive for us, and his improvement is going to be really beneficial for us.
100%. I think I put in the group chat. Does anyone think that DJ looks a little bit like Marge Simpson? And that one felt pretty flat. I thought that was pretty good, but with the high hair he's got, I just see Marge Simpson, shooting threes and putting in dunks. But that one fell pretty flat in the group chat, so I probably shouldn't have mentioned it. Mate, you've got, I don't know if you covered him enough earlier on, but you wanted to point out just Will Magnay's efforts in defence this game. Yeah. Do we want to give him a bit of a shout out?
Yeah, I think that was massive. He had like 13 rebounds. I think 43% of his rebounds also over a 5-game period have been offensive rebounds, like we just talked about. And that's been sort of a little bit of the difference. You're usually sitting much lower, around, say, 30%. It's all the way up almost 50%. So we're doing something's changed there, where he's just like being the presence down low. And I think that's exactly what we need out of Magnay. It's not about him needing to be an offensive player and a defensive player. Like, you still got to get your points from him. But I think defensively he's been much better. He's averaging 2 assists per game as well, and 2 blocks. So just becoming that big presence. And he certainly did that in this game, especially when Bannan started to go. He just became a big presence in this one and made a difference as well, with maybe some of the stuff that you don't see all over the stat sheet.
100%. And it's a huge indicator, the rebound stat, as to how much effort the team are putting in defensively. And our average this year for rebounds is 40. In the last 5 games, we've gone 32, 44, 38, 53, and 51. There's been a massive focus on rebounds and that defensive effort, and it's so good to see Jackie's defensive basketball back and us dominating. Next stop is to do it on home soil and get the Ants Nest being a fortress as it has been in previous seasons.
Yeah, 100%. That's so important for us. Like, we were unbeatable there on that championship run, like unbeatable. It was just a nightmare to go there. And you need to have that, I think, if you're going to win. Like, look at Melbourne this year. Oh, not now, but like, they were unbeatable at John Cain. Like, and that's why they've been so good. You win all those games, you're a good shot once you make the playoffs.
And we've got a big game coming up against the Wildcats. So this is pretty much all the time we've got for this episode. Jez, saying that, please join us later in the week for our preview show, where we will talk about the game coming up against the Wildcats, and I'm hoping for a bit of payback there after what they did to us over at RAC. Join us for our preview show. Was there anything else you wanted to plug, Jez, while you're here?
No way, mate. That's it. Let's looking forward to the big match against Perth. It's getting to the pointy end of the season now, so looking forward to getting stuck in there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and always march on, Jackies.